Today's tech news moves fast, but understanding it shouldn't be hard. That's why Snarful Solutions Group brings you Connecting the Dots, where we break down what's happening in tech and why it matters to you. Now, let's dive in with your hosts.
It's Wednesday, May 21st, 2025, and you're listening to Connecting the Dots. I'm Alex, joining you from Snarful Solutions Group here in Sacramento, California.
And I'm Morgan. Good to be here, also in Sacramento. Quite the sunny one today.
Oh, yeah, definitely sunny. They're saying a high of 92 degrees, so maybe a good day to be inside talking tech.
Absolutely. And before we get started, just a quick check on the markets from yesterday's close. The Dow Jones finished up at 423.43.42.
Okay.
And the S&P 500 closed at 5908.34.
Got it. All right, markets noted. Let's dive in.
So Google I/O just wrapped up their big developer conference, and wow, lots came out of it.
Yeah, a ton. We've been looking through it all, and we've picked out three main stories we think are really worth digging into. Stuff that could genuinely change things day to day.
Exactly. And what's kind of neat is all three are, well, they're all Google-driven, spinning out of I/O, smart glasses, AR, better video calls. It all ties together.
It really does. A big focus across the board. So let's kick off with the first one. Google is making a serious push into smart glasses with something called Android XR. Now, XR is that umbrella term, augmented virtual reality.
Right, extended reality. But this announcement really leans into the glasses side of things, and they're not doing it alone.
No, definitely not. They've confirmed partnerships with some pretty major eyewear companies. This is the interesting part.
Yeah, this caught my eye, too. They specifically named Warby Parker and Gentle Monster.
Right. Instantly tells you something, doesn't it? These aren't just tech gadgets. They're thinking about style, like actual fashion.
Precisely. Warby Parker, that classic, maybe slightly preppy look. And then Gentle Monster, super bold, high fashion stuff. It suggests they want these glasses to look good, feel good, maybe offer different styles right out of the gate.
Which is smart. If you want people wearing these things all day, they can't look like some sci-fi prop, right?
Exactly. Aesthetics matter. And it's not just fashion brands they're working with.
No, good point. Samsung is also on board. They'll be making Android XR glasses too.
Which makes sense given their long history with Google on phones and watches. And this is in addition to that headset we've been hearing rumors about, Project Muhan.
Yeah, the Muhan headset expected later this year probably. So Samsung's kind of hitting both angles, the full immersion headset and these more everyday glasses.
Though details on the Samsung glasses specifically are still, pretty limited for now, but their involvement is significant.
Totally. And one more partner they mentioned, someone who's been in the space for a bit, XREAL.
Yes, formerly XREAL. They know AR glasses. And Google specifically called out their upcoming project, Project Aura, as running Android XR.
Okay, so Project Aura, that sounds like one of the first concrete products we might see using this new platform.
Seems likely. XREAL has the hardware chops.
So when do we actually get our hands on any of these AI-powered glasses from Warby Parker or XREAL? Sounds like it's still early days.
It is. Google said they have prototypes out with trusted testers right now, so real-world testing is happening.
Okay, that's progress.
Yeah, and they mentioned more info on availability in the coming months. Plus, you can sign up for an Android XR newsletter if you're really keen.
A newsletter, huh?
Yeah.
The classic sign up for future product news. Okay, so let's connect the dots for you listening. What does this actually mean? Stylish glasses, AI built in.
Well, think about the possibilities. You're walking around, maybe in a new city. Directions could just appear subtly in your vision.
Like a little floating arrow.
Exactly. Or point your glasses at a menu in Spanish and it translates instantly. Because Gemini, Google's AI, is meant to be baked right in.
So it's about blending that digital information much more smoothly into like your actual view of the world, not having to pull out your phone for everything.
That's the promise, making that interaction more seamless, more natural.
Okay, very cool potential there.
Yeah.
Let's stick with that thread and zoom in on our second story, which is actually about that XREAL device we just mentioned, Project Aura.
Right, because this one seems pretty far along, relatively speaking. It's officially the second device slated for Android XR after Samsung's Project Muhan headset.
Okay. So Muhan is first, but it's a headset. Aura is second, but it's glasses.
Exactly. Aura is aiming for that everyday eyewear form factor, but with AR smarts. More subtle than a full headset.
And who's building this? It's not just XREAL and Google, right?
No, it's a three-way collaboration. You've got Google providing the Android XR platform and the Gemini AI, XREAL handling the actual glasses hardware, drawing on their experience.
Right.
And Qualcomm providing the chip likely one of their Snapdragon XR processors, which are built specifically for this kind of thing.
Okay, so a tech powerhouse trio behind it. What about the tech inside the glasses? They mentioned optical see-through. What's that mean practically?
Optical see-through, or OST, is key for AR glasses. It basically means the displays are transparent, you see the real world through the lenses, and the digital stuff gets overlaid on top.
Got it. So it's not like VR where your whole view is blocked.
Exactly. Now, XREAL historically has used micro OLED displays combined with something called bird bath optics.
Bird bath optics sounds splashy.
Yeah. It's a way of using curved mirrors inside the glasses to bounce the image into your eye. The upside is you can get pretty bright images and a decent field of view, which you need for AR.
Okay, brighter, wider view. What's the downside?
Sometimes bird bath designs can be a little bulkier than other methods, like waveguides. Waveguides are these super thin, transparent pieces that guide light, aiming for that really sleek look, but they've sometimes struggled with brightness or field of view.
Ah, okay. So it's a design trade-off. Be interesting to see where Aura lands on that spectrum. And the Gemini AI we talked about, that's definitely an Aura.
Oh, yeah. That's central to the whole Android XR idea. So expect Aura to do things like real-time translation, answering questions contextually based on what you're seeing, maybe recognizing objects, all powered by that onboard AI.
That's a lot for a pair of glasses. Now, they also said Aura will be tethered. What does that mean? Do I need like a wire running down my back?
Not necessarily down your back. But yeah, tethered means the glasses themselves don't do all the heavy lifting, processing, battery, etc. They need to be connected, probably by a thin cable, to another device.
Like my phone.
Most likely your smartphone, yeah. Or maybe a small dedicated processing puck you keep in your pocket.
Okay. So the glasses can be lighter, maybe less bulky on your head?
Right. But you've got this other thing to carry and keep charged. It's definitely a trade-off.
Yeah, convenience versus capability, I guess.
Yeah.
When did we learn more specifics? Like battery life, exact features, what it tethers to?
Soon, hopefully. XREAL said they'll be revealing more details about Project Aura at the Augmented World Expo AWE. That's happening in Long Beach this June.
Okay, AWE in June. Mark the calendar. So the big picture here is making AR more accessible, maybe. Using the Android apps you already know, but through glasses.
I think that's part of it. Tethered glasses might be a stepping stone for a lot of people compared to, a big standalone headset. Plus, the AI assistant right there in your vision, that could be genuinely useful day to day.
Fascinating stuff. All right, let's shift gears for our third and final story from I/O. This one's about communication, but in a really different way. Google Beam.
Ah, yes, Google Beam. You might remember this as Project Starline. They've been demoing it for a while.
Right, the crazy 3D video calling thing. It looks like it's finally becoming more of a real product.
It seems so. They've officially rebranded it as Google Beam, and the goal is still the same. Create these incredibly realistic, almost holographic video calls where it feels like the other person is right there with you. No glasses needed.
Okay, no glasses. That's key. But who is this for? Is this replacing Zoom for everyone?
Not yet. Definitely not. They're positioning Beam primarily for enterprise customers, at least initially. Businesses looking for that next level of remote interaction.
Makes sense. The tech sounds intense. How does it actually work? How do you get that 3D effect without goggles?
It's pretty complex. Each Beam unit has, get this, a 6-camera array that captures you from multiple angles.
6 cameras. Wow.
Yeah. And that data feeds into an AI model that builds a real-time 3D model of you. Then it uses a special kind of screen called a light field display to project that 3D image to the person on the other end. It tricks your eyes into seeing depth.
A light field display.
Yeah.
Okay, so it really creates that illusion of presence. They were claiming things like near-perfect head tracking, too.
They're definitely aiming for a very natural feel, like you can actually make eye contact, perceive subtle movements, almost like they're across the table. Big step up from a flat webcam image.
For sure. And is there anything new besides just the rebranding to Beam?
Yes, actually, a pretty significant new feature, AI-powered real-time speech translation.
Oh, okay. Like live subtitles.
More than that, it translates the speech in real time, initially between English and Spanish, but they plan more languages. And here's the cool part. It tries to preserve the speaker's original voice and tone in the translation.
Whoa. So it wouldn't sound like a robot translating. It would still sound like, well, them.
That's the goal, to make cross-language conversations feel much more natural. And they're bringing this translation tech to regular Google Meet, too, for some subscribers.
That voice preservation thing sounds amazing. potentially. So who's actually making the hardware for this? Is Google building these booths?
No, they've partnered with HP to manufacture the Google Beam hardware. HP is apparently focused on making the design as sort of minimalist and office-friendly as possible, given the tech inside.
Okay, HP's building them.
Yeah.
And how are they getting them out there?
They're working with distribution partners globally and making sure it integrates smoothly with Google Meet and also Zoom, so it fits into existing video conferencing workflows.
Smart. Makes adoption easier for businesses. Are companies actually biting? Any early users?
Yeah, they mentioned quite a few big names already exploring it or planning to use it. Deloitte, Salesforce, NEC, even Duolingo, and a major health system. Seems there's real interest in that high-fidelity remote collaboration.
Given all that 6 cameras, light field display, AI, I'm guessing this isn't cheap. What's the price tag look like?
Yeah, nobody expects this to be cheap. Analysts are predicting a price point likely in the tens of thousands of dollars per unit.
Oof. Okay. Definitely enterprise-level pricing.
For sure. It's high-end tech for businesses where that level of remote presence offers significant value. Not really a consumer product right now.
Right. But even if Beam itself is for big companies now, what does this kind of tech signal for the future? For, the rest of us?
Well, that's the really interesting long-term question, isn't it? While Beam is enterprise-focused today, it's pushing the boundaries of what's possible in remote communication.
Like a proof of concept for better virtual presence.
Exactly. Imagine years down the line, maybe this tech becomes more affordable, more compact. Think about talking to family overseas and feeling like they're actually there. It could fundamentally change how we connect when we can't be physically together.
Reducing that feeling of distance in a much more profound way than just seeing a face on a screen.
Precisely. So even if Beam isn't for your living room yet, the underlying innovations in 3D capture display and that AI translation could eventually trickle down to more mainstream tools.
Very cool to think about. Okay, let's try and wrap this up and connect all these dots from Google I/O.
Sounds good. So, quick recap. First, Google's big push into Android XR smart glasses, bringing in partners like Warby Parker, Gentle Monster, Samsung, and XREAL with a heavy dose of AI.
Then we dove into XREAL's Project Aura, specifically likely one of the first Android XR glasses, using optical see-through tech, tethered design, and again, that Gemini AI integration. More details coming in June.
And finally, Google Beam, the artist formerly known as Project Starline. High-end, glasses-free 3D video calling for enterprise, now with that impressive real-time translation feature that aims to keep the speaker's voice.
So looking at all three, what's the main thread connecting them for you? What's the big takeaway?
For me, it really feels like Google is doubling down on embedding AI more deeply into how we see and hear the world and how we interact remotely, whether it's AI enhancing our vision through glasses or making remote conversations feel more real.
Yeah, AI is definitely the engine under the hood for all of this. It gives us a lot to chew on. And maybe that leads to our final thought for you, our listener.
Go for it.
As this kind of techting the AR glasses, the hyper-real video calls as it gets more woven into our lives, what do we need to consciously think about? What aspects of just plain old human connection might get lost or maybe changed in ways we don't expect, and what new possibilities might open up?
That's a huge question. Finding that balance between the technological possibility and, genuine human interaction, something we'll all be navigating.
Indeed. Well, on that thoughtful note, thank you so much for joining us for this deep dive into the latest from Google I/O. Hope we gave you some things to think about.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in to Connecting the Dots. We'll catch you next time.
That's a wrap on today's top stories. Remember, tech doesn't have to be complicated, and we're here to help connect the dots. If you've got questions or want to learn more, visit us at snarful.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you next time.